Hello and welcome to my Imperfect Knitting Life. This is episode 24. If you have seen my channel before, welcome back. And if this is your first time, I have actually talked about my journey of having bought a mini commercial spinning mill and how I've learnt to use the mill and to make yarn. So if you haven't seen it before and you want to see how things started, please go back to episode 1. But in the meantime, today I'm going to talk a little bit about my knitting and then get onto the mill and also a little bit about the yarn. The first thing is knitted objects, finished objects. So I really don't have any more finished objects. I do have my Sunday cardigan, which I showed you last week. And the only thing I've done is progress it by putting in buttonholes. So you like push a little gap and then you do a buttonhole stitch around it. Now if you watched episode 23, you'll see that I had some beautiful avocado or buttons made from avocado pips that Judy gave me, and unfortunately they don't fit through the hole, so I had to go and get some other buttons. And what I've decided is on these ones. So they're not actually real leather. I'm pretty sure somewhere I'm going to find in my little stash some real leather ones, because when I was in California visiting my son, I went to Sebastopol, and in Sebastopol I was taken by this lovely lady, an artist, and she took me to this place called, I keep wanting to say Legend, but I think it's Legacy, and it's this amazing op shop that is just basically craft stuff and just beautifully catalogued. So there's a whole area of just sewing stuff, fabrics. I got some gorgeous silk velvet fabric from there. And then when I saw their button section, I was blown away, because a lot of them are retro, and I suppose that some of them have come straight from the button shops, or the haberdashery as we used to call them, and they're still on the cards, but the people that work there meticulously take them off and sort them out if they come in like a box of buttons, and then put them onto cards, and so you buy them in little sets, and they're just awesome. So if you ever go to Sebastopol and you want to have a look at their stuff, they've got knitting needles, embroidery stuff, just so much in that shop. It was absolutely amazing. So I somehow, in the annals of my brain, thought I had actually bought some real leather ones from there, so I'm going to have a little look for them, but just in case, I will use those as a backup. The other thing is I did put five buttonholes, but I think they're too spaced out, so I'm going to add, and then there'll be 9 buttonholes in total. And when I make this pattern again, which I definitely will, because I think I might be making one as a gift for somebody, what I'm going to do is do the buttonholes as I knit the band, because I think they'll be a lot stretchier than when you actually do the sort of buttonhole stitching around there. I don't know if I could have done it differently, but I'm not undoing it. I'm just going to stick with what I've got. So yeah, that's the Sunday cardigan by Petite Knits. I absolutely love it. I'm going to put it on, although it's lunchtime now and it's warmed up a lot. So this morning I tried to do a podcast, but where I'm sitting in the conservatory, the sun just came blinding me through the around the conservatory, so I had to stop, and it was freezing cold then, 4 degrees this morning when Roger went to the gym. So now it's warmed up, I'd say maybe 16, 17, which I suppose is typical autumn weather. But yeah, it's turned out to be a lovely day, and I've had to be super sneaky and stick a sheet up so that I don't get blinded when the clouds go away. But anyway, I digress. I have not got any other knitted objects that I have done, but Jess, remember I told you that Jess was knitting one of those Serrana vests. It's a baby toddler kiddie vest, and it's in a mosaic, and you cast on at the bottom and you knit in the round, and then you divide when you get to the armholes. So look at this cute little thing here. Look at it, so gorgeous. That is the mosaic pattern there. So she said she just loved it and she wants to make it again. But like I say, you start at the bottom, then you're doing a mosaic in the round, and then when you split it, you're doing it forwards and backwards. And the only thing that Jess said to me was that when she was knitting at the back, because she's used, and I'll show you the yarn in a minute, she's used a variegated yarn, that she had to find a bit so that it wasn't a complete colour change here, that it sort of blended at the back there. But look at that little cute thing. And yeah, so I'm going to have a go at that as well, because I think that's gorgeous, and I think I'll make it for a bigger little person. I have a 4-year-old that might fit that beautifully. So the yarn that she used, oh, where did I put that? Oh yeah, here it is. So the yarn that she used is this 50% Corriedale, 50% alpaca that I spun in the mill. Little story about that later, so I'm just going to put it back. And then I actually dyed some of the roving before I put it through the pin drafter, and that's what the little mosaic squares are knitted in. Now I don't have any of that to sell, so I'm showing you because it's just giving you an idea of what it does. But I do have a little knitted sample of that somewhere. Just bear with me. I'm gonna have to cut this bit out. I did have a little knitted sample. I did have a knitted sample, so I can't find that now, but if I find it, I will put a picture in now of this knitted up. But look, it sort of has pinks and yellows, orange and the blue. So I actually did 2 different colorways in this, and again I'll talk about that later. So I highly recommend this little pattern that Jess did. And this, honestly, it's really soft. A little person's going to not object to wearing that. They surely can't say that's itchy. So yeah, it's just beautiful. I mean, look at the inside. Even the inside's nice. It's quite textured. So yes, thank you so much, Jess, for doing that for me. And that's going to come to the Woolfest show with me. And then people can have a look and a feel of that there. So because I don't actually have any other knitted things, I have been trying to get ready for Woolfest, and that has taken up so much time. And I was already behind because of my leg, that I've been concentrating on producing yarn, skeinin the yarn, because I had a lot of yarn ready to be skeined and priced up and all of that. Looking at the web shop and seeing, like, honestly, seeing what I have and haven't done. I didn't even put that they were 100 gram skein. So I'm assuming that everybody who bought it assumed that it was a 100 gram skein. My son had a look and he's like, Mum, you haven't even put the price in there. I mean, the weight in there. And there's two skeins. Do they think they're going to get 2 skeins? And I was like, I don't think so, because some of the pictures have 1 skein and some of the pictures have 2. So I think they're thinking it's per skein, but each skein weighs 100 grams. Plus or minus a couple. If it's below 100 grams and somebody's ordered 200, I put 2 together so that they're at the 200 or more. I really do make sure that you get your value for money on that. So like I say, I've been putting together some samples, and I'm going to show you the yarn in a minute, but this is also another colorway that I did a mosaic in. So this is the pressed flower shawl, and the contrast color is the white in the side. I did the flower in the main color, and that was not the right thing to do because you literally cannot see it. But obviously you can see the contrast flower very, very well. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to try it the other way around. So I did the white with the color in the background. Still did the white flower. So again, I think it would look so much better with the, and it should have been, probably that's exactly what it should have been, is with the coloured, the contrast flower. So one day I will get to make this shawl and stop making just samples for it. But I think it's a really good way to showcase how to use the yarn. And then, so you remember the florarium? I haven't finished it. So, but if you look at the florarium, I was like, I'm sure this is made with Letlupi yarn. So I'm not sure if it's the Letlupi or the other one, the Plotulopi, but it's made with that yarn, which is an unspun yarn. And I thought, I'm going to have a go with that with my own yarn. So I decided that I would pick muted colours, because when I looked at the actual pattern, they were using quite muted colours as well. They used like a mushroomy pink colour background, and then a maroony flower or detail. So I picked a muted pink background, and then I used, ta-da, this skein I made. All right, so this I called Maple Tree, because I think it's the colour of the leaves, the pink and the yellow, or the red and the yellow, and then the last of the green leaves that is on the tree before they turn. So that is Maple Tree. And I honestly, I think it's really nice. So it's not knit to gauge, and you know, I think I'd go up a needle size. First thing my mum said when she saw it was like, you need to go up a needle size. If you want, you know, I mean, if it's an outer garment, you might not want to go up a needle size because you want it quite condensed or dense so that the wind doesn't go through it. But I'm definitely going to give that a go in a colorway like similar to this. So that's basically my samples, I think. Don't think I've got any other samples to show you unless that other one magically turns up. So like I say, I'm really getting ready for Woolfest, but before Woolfest on Saturday I've got a spin-in here in Rotorua, and for that I'm going to probably take a couple of batches of carded fleece and a bit of yarn, but not too much yarn, because I don't know that the yarn, you know, it's honestly, it's like trying to sell ice to Eskimos really, and I'm going there not ostensibly to just sell. I want to actually mingle and have a chat with the ladies and all that, and maybe talk about them if they want to ask me stuff. But really, I will take some yarn, but spinners do love a good roving to spin. And last time when I went to a spin-in, I just about sold everything except for, I think like 2 little packets didn't go, but everything else went. So, you know, if it doesn't go, I can still bring it back and I can put it through the pin drafter and take it to Woolfest. So let's see where we are with that one. I could even take it just as it is to Woolfest, let's be honest. I haven't even thought about taking roving to Woolfest. I've mainly been concentrating on the yarn. Now let me see, in terms of what I've got literally 11 products I'm going to put up on, well, I have already put them up on the web page or the web shop, but I will activate it tonight, and so when you get up tomorrow it will be up and ready to go. And I've got quite a variety of things to show you. So what I will do is I'm going to tell you about the alpaca and the Corriedale that I showed you. So that's the one that Jess used to make the Serrana vest. So up the road from me, there's 2 ladies that made contact, and they own alpaca farms, and I think they breed their alpacas. So, you know, the quality of the fleece is really important. The micron of the fleece is important, and they are promoting alpacas. They're not really into yarn, and they're not really focused on selling yarn or anything like that, but they just really wanted to see what products could be made out of their fleeces. And so I have played a little bit with some of their yarns, and I've got, well, this is a roving which they had done somewhere else, but when it came to me it was too thick to go straight on the spinner, so I still had to pin draft it twice, and then I decided before I pin drafted it that I would color up some of it. So that's the one. The other one I did was, because this is yellow orange and blue, and then when you put it through the pin drafter, some parts are a similar color and other parts are very different colors. And then I also did this, which is literally the same to the orange and the yellow but without the blue, and you put it through the pin drafter and it blends it each time. It's sort of extending the colors, but it's also blending them as well, and that is just a super squishy, lovely yarn. I mean, I've only got, I think, 2 of these, and I don't even know whether to put them up on the web page or not. So if you really want them, you need to let me know, and maybe I can just do a special one just for one particular person if they want them. And then the other way that I did it was I spun the yarn and then I dyed the natural yarn with the same colors, so you can see how different that is. You know, I haven't got no idea what to call that. Flame lily. I like to name it after plants, don't know why. Flame lily is springing to mind, but suggestions always open and welcome. So like I say, same 2 colors, 2 different looks, and they kind of go together. So that's just gorgeous. I don't even think that they're only 100 grams. I think there's actually more than 100 grams in each of these skeins. I'll have to weigh it and price it accordingly. So that's the 2 coloured ones I've done. But this here, the one that I was actually able to put through the pin drafter and then put on the spinner, that came out to 190 meters, 100 grams, which is almost a double net, 8 ply, whatever you want to call it. But at the bottom it was all compacted, so I had to put it through the carder, then I had to put it in the pin drafter, and then I put it up on the spinner, and that came out a little bit chunkier. Let me just grab some. I call it a little bit more shed made. So if you look at that one, you can see it's a little thinner, and then if you look at that one there, this basically shed made one, the only thing I didn't do was wash it. It looks more like my yarn, doesn't it, rather than a commercial yarn. And yeah, so I'm very happy with those. The one thing I want to say about the natural colours is they don't seem to sell as well, and I'm sort of dithering about whether or not to literally not stock much natural colour, not at least the white natural colour, much at all, because it doesn't move, which is part of the reason why the maple tree turned up, because that's been sitting there, well, it's been going to yarn festivals and what have you for maybe almost 2 years. So I've dyed it up, and if nobody else is going to use it, I'm definitely going to use it. So yeah, thoughts about that. What do you think? Stock some natural or just do lots of colours? Not sure. My specialty, of course, is blending colours. That's what I love to do, is the blending the colours from the fleece. But this I couldn't do. I couldn't actually colour that once it was kind of compacted. So yeah, that's exactly what it's going to be. I can actually do the post dyeing, so I could do some more of the pink and the orange like I did on that one. But you could, when I did the maple tree, I also did another one which I've called summer dahlias or dahlias. I call them dahlias. I don't know why I keep saying dahlia like it's a posh word, but anyway. And that looks like a dinner plate dahlia I've got, and I'm going to see if I can find a photo of it and pop it in. And that, I think, is just gorgeous. All those pinks and greens, and they're just classic, beautiful soft colours. And, you know, that'd go nicely with that. I actually have a yarn that I dyed up. Oh, would even go nice, I think, with that one. That's a natural oatmeal colour. I'm back. I don't know, is this too pink to go with that? I'm not sure. But it would definitely make a lovely colourway with a darker colour for sure. And I'm very happy with those. I'll do a little bit more of that. Now, the other thing I did was the same 2 alpaca ladies, and I think, in future, I've already discussed it with them, I would like to buy their alpaca fleeces. The only thing is that, alpaca fleece per kilo is probably more than 10 times the price of some sheep fleece that I get. Probably 3 times the price of the more expensive sheep fleece that I get. So it is, it's an expensive product to make, and I'm going to have to, reflect that in the price. So this is the sage, got a fly buzzing around here. This is the sage, and it is 70% alpaca and 30% Polworth. The Polworth grew out here in my garden, and I dyed that green, and then I popped that in with the alpaca. But really, that is super soft, really bouncy, and yeah, I'm going to have to see what's a good price for that. But in the meantime, I think last time I remember I said there was one person who hadn't claimed their giveaway, and that was Ollie and May, and she contacted me and said, oh my goodness, I didn't realize I'd missed the fact that I had won something. So she's actually picked the sage. But what I'm going to say, Ollie and May, is just wait till tomorrow, have a look at the web shop, because I'm putting a few other things up there that you might like, and if this is definitely what you want, let me know, and I will send you maybe 3 skeins or something of that, because she wants to make a shawl or a scarf, and I think that'll be enough. So yeah, that's gorgeous. This over here is Romney, so that's Romney from Rocky Basin, and I mixed that with a bit of alpaca and a little bit of bunny, and it has softened it off a bit, because Romney's a nice medium strong wool, and it's a gorgeous color. It's ended up this beautiful oatmeal, although I've called it latte on the web shop. Don't know how I got that name, but anyway, I called it latte, and I decided, okay, I'll do a little colorway to go with that. So same weight yarn, same batch, but I've done a little bit of dyeing on some of the skeins. I think I've got 4 or 5 of these skeins. And what do you think I called this one? Because I did come up with a name myself for a change. I called it Pansy. So my sister-in-law Christine just loves pansies, and that really made me think of her. So that's it, Pansy and Latte. I think they go nicely together. So this one as well, there's 2 weights. One's 170, and there's another selection which is a 190 meters per 100 gram. Oh yeah, I know what else I want to tell you. So my sister lives in one of my sisters lives in Norway, and it's her birthday in June, and I've asked her to let me know what yarn she would like, and I'm going to post her a packet, because she is an avid knitter, a fabulous knitter, and she actually got back to me this morning and said, oh, she'd had a look at the web shop and picked the bunny pink, which in this light is almost like a deep salmon color. It's not a pink. So I call that what do I call that, dusty warm pink bunny. And then I remembered how much she loves pink. When she and my sister were growing up, my mum used to make their dresses, and she'd make one pink, which was for Sandra, and then the other one blue, which was for Millie. I missed that boat, but anyway. And so I also know she doesn't like really bright pinks, so I've got this. I'm saying so many times. Apologies, people. Here, that's 4 of the pinks that I've got for the web shop. So that's the bunny pink on there, and that's the dusty pink, and I haven't even named this pink. Blush pink. I called that one blush pink, and this one I haven't even labelled to put up on the website yet, but that's almost a lilac-y pink, but lots of heathered colours in there, you know. Great little medium weight, medium feel yarn. So there you go, look at those pinks. hopefully Sandra has another look at that tonight and then decides what she wants to do. What I also have is this yarn over here, which is 50% alpaca, and I put a dark alpaca in there, and you can see it's quite a hairy yarn, but it is medium soft, I would say, and it's not quite as purple as that. I'm not going to tell you what I called it because, well, I haven't given this a name. I would really, really appreciate you guys telling me what color you think that would be. I wondered like port wine or something, like port wine magnolia, something like that. But, you know, it goes really nicely with a couple of these different pink ones. Maybe that's a little bit, but you know, you can look at those guys. So this one here is the alpaca and sheep, but it's mostly alpaca. I think it's 60% alpaca, that one. I really like those. So I think pretty much, I'm not going to show you any more yarns today. Might have some more next week. But please check out the web shop tomorrow if you want to have a look. Some things I've got a reasonable amount of. And when I say reasonable, I mean 30 balls. And others I've got much less of. So just depends on what's there. But you're very welcome to have a little look. The other thing I wanted to tell you about was in August I am going to Europe. So a few years ago I discovered half siblings on Ancestry DNA, and I've met them once. We went on a holiday and I met the whole family, and they asked me and Roger, obviously, if we wanted to come and spend some time with them this summer. So every year the whole family, and I think there's more than 20 of them, go to Corsica to one of my sisters that lives in Corsica, and they've asked if we want to come and spend a week. So we're like, okay, well, that'd be lovely to go and see them. And then while we're in Europe or the UK, we'll go and see my brother that lives there. And also, I've just always wanted to go to Shetland Wool Week. Well, clearly, August is not Shetland Wool Week month, but I said, let's go up there. And Roger said, well, he hasn't seen Scotland. I've been to Scotland. And we'll have a look around Scotland, and then we'll get the ferry over to Shetland, and then we'll fly back to the UK and come back home after that. So, I mean, that pretty much fills a month. But I think while I'm away, I will do a couple of podcasts of places that I have gone to there. And if I can find anywhere that's a little bit woolly or milly or anything like that, I'll show you that if you're interested. Yeah, so that's in August. Not too far to go, really. So that's that. And what else did I want to tell you? Oh, I know. I actually got my first merch. So I have just ordered, and they arrived today in the post, needle gauges with the mill on. I think next time I get them done, I'm actually going to put on the back the length, so the yards per meter, and then the equivalent weight of yarn. So, you know, like 190 plus or 210 plus is an 8 ply. What's an Aran, you know, all of that. I'm not going to bother with fingering weight because I am not going to be making fingering weight, although all of the sizes are on here, US and millimeter. But I think that's really happy with that. So at the top here, at the top here's a little hole, and I'm going to put a carabiner through it so it can be hung on, I don't know, your bag or whatever. And the other thing that I've got in progress is I spoke to a friend's mum, and she is an awesome sewer, and I'm going to put together a few accessory bags. I've never shown you my accessory bag, but I'm not a great sewer, but I did want to do this little prototype where I made some felt in the felt loom and use that on the inside, because you can actually thread needles into that. So like my the pin that goes into the needle when you put your interchangeables on. But I think I'm going to save that for another time. So where are we now? think I've talked as much as I would like to talk today, because I'd really like to get this up. But thank you so much for coming along and having a look. And I will, in the next, probably after Woolfest, show a little video of getting the yarn skeined up and ready to go. Oh, I do have one more thing to say, and that is, thank you so much to the people that bought off the web shop since the last podcast. Really, really appreciate that. And I have had amazing, just such lovely feedback. And when you say it warms the cockle of my heart, I mean it. It does warm the cockle of my heart when it goes somewhere and then somebody sends me a message. Like I woke up this morning and a lovely lady in Belgium sent me a message saying that the yarn was exactly as she thought it would be, and she was super happy with it. So, yeah. And some people bought 2 or 3 times, have come back and bought more. So that's always a good sign, really. I also think that, I know that at the moment, in the States, people are a bit unsure about what's happening with the tariffs and all that, but your dollar is so strong compared to the New Zealand dollar that I still think that it's probably not expensive for you to get it sent. And it might even be worth, if someone wants to take it all the way through to seeing what the shipping price is, then having a look at that, and you can give me a little private message and some feedback on that. But I don't think the shipping prices are too expensive, because when I was in the States, I had to get stuff shipped and I was blown away, because once I'd taken it from the US dollar into the New Zealand dollar, it was really expensive considering it's local, it's your own country. Not criticizing, just commenting, okay? So what is that thing that they're all doing now? We listen, but we don't judge, okay? Anyway, so thank you so much for popping along, and I will be back next week. Take care. Bye.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.